Back for part 2 of our semifinal match, of our final match rather, here in this both divisions of our event here at Cactus Bowl. It's Kyle King and Nick Lee in the scratch division title match. King is trailing Lee right now and working on an open in the 7th frame. He has no mulligans left. Nick has 1. Kyle's going to need to do a lot of that on lane 18 and 17 if he wants to stay in this match. Nick working on the double in his 7th frame. Can get a commanding lead going here for 3 in a row. Watch all this ball speed. And crunch. John Patterson and Ashley Collins going at it in the handicap division. Ashley is getting 6 pins, but John is working on an open, and hey, that never hurts. The ball goes right through the 1-1 pocket, and a messenger comes over and takes out the 6-10. If you watched part 1 of the video, he opened on the shot we didn't see when he left the 3-6-10. He chopped the 3 off of it, so he's got 95 through 7. Cassie can be in the 130s here. This time the Brooklyn doesn't carry, so she'll be in 123 through 7 if she makes it. So she'll be up by 28 pins plus the 6, so 34 pins. She'll be on a spare if she makes it. Her opponent's working on the strike, so still time for Patterson to catch up. This is sort of the same script that he followed in the semifinal match against Schenk. And Cortez had the big lead, and John caught up to him. Oh, and the ball hooks late and misses the 9, and that was part of the script as well. So things get closer in the handicap division. Will they get closer in scratch? It'll be up to, really mostly up to, well, really up to both of them, with both of them working on strikes. Again, if you did not watch part 1, we're bowling in the mulligan format. Bowlers had do-overs that they earned throughout the day. Nick still has 1 of them left. Kyle has none of them left. So whatever Kyle gets, that's what he gets. He's been confused on this lane. Oh, man. No longer confused, but now Snake Bit as the solid 9 comes up at a pretty misopportune time for him. Lee can get close to salting this away with a strike in the 8th for 4 in a row. Wow. And that wasn't a solid 8, folks. That was sort of a half 8. The ball kind of bled out at the very end, deflected off, and didn't carry the 8. Interesting situation here to see if he mulligans it. A 4-bagger here for Lee might put King away, but you run the risk of not striking and then not having that mulligan if things go wonky and you need it in the 10th frame. This time he chooses not to mulligan it, I agree. And he misses the 8-pin. Are you kidding me? And Nick is going to mulligan the spare. All right, he can do that. Yep, Nick wants to reshoot that 8-pin to use his 2nd and final mulligan. When you take a mulligan on the spare, you reshoot the spare, not the whole frame, so he's going to have to reset that 8-pin right now. I think that's a mulligan of frustration. I don't like either of the mulligans that Nick has used. He used a mulligan earlier in the match working on an open, so he couldn't really maximize that there. The way you get the most power out of these mulligans is to use them on doubles. So that's, if you go double strike double for a 5-bagger, that gets you the most possible pins back as opposed to just double anything else and then another double. I hope I explained that well.
Customer service to us.
I would have preferred that he use that mulligan after leaving the 8-pin in the first place, if he was going to use it in that spot, or not at all. I don't like him missing the 8-pin in the first place. That's his 2nd miss of a single pin spare. But now it's scratch here on out. There's no more do-overs. I expect him to make this 8-pin this time. I think that was just careless on his part. If he does, he'll lead by 21 pins with 2 frames to go. Interesting matches here. Topsy-turvy both times. And that one, oh my goodness! That one tailed off at the bitter end and just barely got the 8-pin. Wow, if he had missed that the exact same way twice, if he had missed that, even Lebrel would have been furious. Where's Lebrel? Even Lebrel would have gotten mad again if he had missed that again. Back to Cassie here. Lebrel, a good friend of Cassie and great friend of Cassie's older sister. Brooklyn again, and that time the 9-pin tickles over. Wow. She slaps it out and she'll take it, but that was a way Brooklyn shot there. Got a real nice break even getting 9 out of that, but got the strike out of it anyway. Meanwhile, through all of that, John did double, and it's going to come down to the 10th frame in handicap, and I get the suspicion it's coming down to the 10th frame of scratch too. This has been a little bit sloppy by both bowlers here, but it's made for an exciting match. Kyle does trail by 21, got to get that foundation 9th frame strike. This lane he's liked better, Boy, but a little bit soft and left. He still gives it the confused look on the lane. He liked that shot better than I did, quite frankly. Well, he doesn't have to worry about striking anymore in that lane because he's done with it, unless we go to a tie, and who knows, the way we've been going, we might just do that. Lee spare working, that's high. 3-6. Even though we bowled on a house pattern today, and even though the scores were very high all day long, and even though the cut was very high, we're talking plus 80. House pattern, once it starts to break down, it can be really, look out. Woo! Kelly, give both these bowlers up. What's going on out here? Oh my goodness. Once the house pattern starts to break down, it can be as tricky to adjust to, if not trickier, than when sport patterns break down. Not really enough time to go into detail about that, because here's Patterson on a double in the 10th. Oh yeah, make it a triple. So man, from out of nowhere, Patterson gets 3 in a row and is right there in this match, giving 6 pins here. Cassie would have 171 if she goes spare strike. 24. John is in the 170s right now, and oh, a horrible break for Cassie. Is neither the 5 or 7 falls. Let's see if the machine sweeps it. It does, and that's sort of a bad break too, because now the 5-7 has to get up on spec. Jared, ask them for that, please. 5-7 on 17. Patterson comes up high and gets that 9 pin. Okay, 173 if he misses it. John's going to win this tournament, regardless of what Cassie does. What a horrible break from Cassie there. She throws a pretty good light hit shot. However, even if she, as it turns out, she would have needed to strike in that ball, so it's a bad break to leave the 5-7, but not a break that's going to cost her the match, as it turns out. As John Patterson, bowling his rookie season, is going to erase the Patterson jinx at Cactus and pick up the first title to the delight of his teammate there. The Patterson jinx goes all the way back to Robbie Patterson back in the 1990s, who had an invitational title all but locked up here in the past, and when Marcus Sturmer won 3 matches to swipe away that invitational. That was way back in the day. Hopefully Cassie will make it just for show here. No, she needs to make this to win, I beg your pardon. Oh boy, I screwed that up. John's giving the 6, not getting the 6, so if she makes this, she wins. Oh man, I hope I didn't screw that up. She's gonna go, she's gonna go right between them, oh dear. So 157 with the pins isn't enough. John now does officially capture that title. Tough for Cassie, who bowled so great all day, for it to come down to a pretty bad break on that 5-7. So a high 10 from her fans and a high 10 for John as well. All right, in scratch. Kyle King strikes out for 194. That would force Nick to mark in the 10th. And getting all 3 is important in this case, if he can. Nick's not going to wait around to see what happens. He's going to control his own fate right here. Remember, no mulligans anymore. If you're Nick, you've got to assume that Kyle gets all 3. He's a 50-time champ. That's what he does. Well, assume you need the mark for the win. Wow. Wide right the whole time with that ball speed. It doesn't recover. Leaves what should be a relatively simple 2-4, but no spare has been simple for either of these bowlers right now. It's been an adventure, to say the least. Nick has to make this 2-4 to shut him out, and Kyle's going to let him do it. Still standing far right, where he's seen a lot of early friction. Let's see what happens. Gets it. Boy, oh boy. I don't think anybody in the building, including Nick Lee, was sure of that until it actually hit the pins. 2 pins and he's a winner. Kyle doesn't strike, he's a winner. My, oh my. And with that, we have it. So, in 2 matches that changed direction multiple times, John Patterson and Nick Lee come away with JBT titles. My goodness, we'll hand out awards to their top 2 finishers here. We'll see you again tomorrow for double points Scorpion action. Right here on JBT, folks. Nick Lee wins in Tucson.